What if the day you have been waiting for arrived, and you discovered you were not ready? What if June 25, 2025 became the day when the faithful were separated from the unfaithful, and you realized too late that your heart was not prepared? These are not just questions meant to stir fear. They are questions meant to awaken something inside you that has been asleep for too long. Deep down, you already know that life is not a series of accidents or coincidences. Every moment, every choice, every hidden thought is leading to something greater, something eternal. And the question that burns within you is this: will you be counted among the faithful when the day comes? Most people drift through life with the assumption that time is endless. They tell themselves tomorrow will be the day they change, tomorrow will be the day they surrender, tomorrow will be the day they start living differently. But tomorrow is not promised, and every delay carves away at the very foundation of your faith. The truth is, the faithful are not made in a single moment. They are formed in the quiet battles no one sees, in the choices that seem small but carry eternal weight. Faith is not simply believing. It is aligning your life with what you believe. It is proof written in your actions, your sacrifices, and your courage when it would be easier to compromise. On June 25, 2025, the difference will not be decided by the labels you wear, the titles you hold, or the words you speak. It will be decided by the truth of who you are when no one is watching. Many call themselves believers, but only the faithful live as if eternity is real, as if the unseen matters more than the seen. The faithful do not settle for comfort because they know comfort can never protect them from judgment. The faithful do not chase what the world calls success because they understand true success is measured by obedience and perseverance. You are being called right now to open your eyes, to stop living in half-truths, to stop convincing yourself that one day you will finally get serious about what matters. The faithful do not wait for someday. They rise today. They live with an urgency that fuels their every step, because they know the clock is ticking and the hour is drawing near. June 25 is not a distant event to dismiss. It is a reminder that the separation is real and it is closer than you think. If you allow yourself to stay distracted, if you keep pushing this truth away, the moment will come like a thief in the night. And the pain of being unprepared will cut deeper than anything you can imagine. But if you choose to awaken, if you choose to realign your life now, if you choose faith that is alive and not dead, then that day will not be one of fear. It will be one of victory. This is why you must stay. Because what you are about to hear could be the very message that shifts the course of your eternity. This is not just another speech, not just another collection of words. It is a call, a warning, and a promise all wrapped together. Stay, listen, and let these words penetrate the walls you've built around your heart. Because by the time we reach the end, you will understand why only the faithful will be elevated, and you will have the choice to become one of them. Faithfulness is not proven when everything feels easy. It is revealed in the pressure of trials, in the fire of temptation, in the silence when you feel unseen and unheard. Anyone can speak words of belief, but only those who endure with unwavering hearts show what it means to be truly faithful. This is why the separation will not be based on appearances, because appearances can lie. It will not be based on rituals, because rituals can be empty. It will be based on the condition of the heart, the depth of obedience, and the strength of a soul that refuses to bend when the weight of the world presses down. You have been given a life that is not an accident. Every breath you take is another chance to rise above mediocrity and align yourself with what cannot be shaken. Yet how often do you treat these moments as disposable, as if time is endless and choices can always be corrected later? That illusion is the enemy of faithfulness. The longer you delay, the weaker your resolve becomes, and the more you drift into a state where conviction feels foreign. Faithfulness is not about waiting until the final moment. It is about living as if every moment is the final one. Look inside yourself right now. Ask the question you've avoided because you already fear the answer. Are you living in a way that proves your faith, or are you simply carrying the label of a believer without the weight of its reality? The faithful do not live with divided hearts. They do not try to serve two masters. They understand that compromise may offer temporary relief, but it always leads to permanent loss. Faithfulness is costly, but unfaithfulness is devastating. There will be many who once appeared strong, but will be found empty, and many who seemed overlooked, but will be lifted higher than anyone imagined. The difference will not be made by talent, influence, or popularity. It will be made by the quiet power of consistent obedience. When everything around them screamed to give up, the faithful chose to endure. When the world mocked their convictions, they stood taller. When compromise seemed easier, they chose the harder path of truth. This is the essence of faith that cannot be shaken, and it is the kind of faith that will be elevated when the day comes. The danger is not in failure, because failure can be redeemed. The danger is in complacency, in living with a lukewarm heart that convinces itself everything is fine when everything is at risk. Complacency whispers that you have more time, that you can stay as you are, that urgency is unnecessary. But complacency is the silent thief of eternity, robbing you not in one dramatic moment, but in small, subtle steps that lead you away from destiny. If you feel that pull within yourself, you must recognize it for what it is, a warning to awaken before it is too late. The faithful are not perfect, but they are surrendered. They are not flawless, but they are focused. They are not without weakness, but they choose strength every time weakness calls their name. This is what sets them apart, and this is why their names will be remembered when others are forgotten. You are not disqualified by your past, but you can be disqualified by your refusal to change in the present. The door of opportunity is still open, but it will not remain open forever. Now is the moment to decide who you will be. The call has already gone out, the line has already been drawn, and the separation is closer than you realize. The faithful are being prepared, sharpened, and strengthened for what is coming. The question is not whether the day will arrive. The question is whether you will be ready when it does. There is a weight pressing on the human soul that few are willing to acknowledge, the weight of wasted potential and ignored truth. Every time you silence conviction, you train yourself to accept a version of life that is smaller than what you were created for. Every time you justify compromise, you build walls between yourself and the destiny that was meant to be yours. Faithfulness is not about occasional moments of strength, but about the quiet, daily decisions that shape the unseen foundation of your life. That foundation will either hold firm when the storm comes or collapse beneath the weight of neglect. You cannot expect elevation if you are unwilling to endure preparation. The faithful know that the hidden seasons matter just as much as the visible ones. They understand that character is built in silence long before it is revealed in light. Every test, every disappointment, every moment of loneliness is not meaningless. It is training. It is shaping the kind of strength that does not break when the pressure intensifies. Those who waste these moments chasing comfort will be unprepared when the demand for endurance arrives. But those who embrace them, those who remain steadfast, will discover they are being forged into something unshakable. The truth is that faithfulness demands a kind of courage the world cannot understand. It is the courage to say no when everything in you wants to say yes. It is the courage to keep moving when fear whispers that you should stop. It is the courage to trust when you cannot see a single step ahead. Most will not choose that path because it costs too much, but the faithful know the cost of compromise is greater. They know that surrendering their integrity, their conviction, their hope would leave them with nothing but regret. And so they keep walking, even when the road is steep, even when the night is long. Every act of faith is a seed planted in eternity. It may feel small, it may go unnoticed by others, but nothing surrendered in faith is wasted. Every hidden prayer, every silent choice, every unseen act of obedience is recorded. And on the day of separation, it will speak louder than words ever could. What you invest in the unseen will one day be revealed in glory. This is why the faithful do not measure their lives by immediate results, but by eternal weight. They do not need recognition now, because they know recognition later will be greater than they can imagine. There is a dangerous lie that convinces people faith can be passive, that simply existing in belief is enough. But true faith is alive, active, and visible in the way you live. If your faith costs you nothing, it is worth nothing. If your faith never asks you to change, it is not faith at all. It is comfort disguised as belief. The faithful are not afraid of sacrifice because they see beyond the sacrifice to the reward. They know that temporary pain cannot compare to eternal elevation. They are willing to endure loss because they know true loss would be to abandon the very thing that gives life meaning. The question you must face is whether you are building your life on what lasts or on what fades. You already know the answer deep inside, even if you have avoided it. Your habits, your choices, your priorities reveal the truth more clearly than your words. On that day, excuses will not matter, appearances will not matter, only the reality of your faithfulness will matter. And the faithful will rise, not because they were perfect, but because they endured, because they refused to trade eternal reward for temporary relief. This is the path set before you, and the choice is now yours. Faithfulness is not proven when everything feels easy. It is revealed when the weight of silence presses against your soul, and you must decide whether to stand or collapse. This is the battlefield where destiny is won or lost, not in moments of applause, but in the quiet spaces where no one is watching and no one will ever know except you. If you abandon your strength there, the foundation of your life crumbles long before anyone sees it. But if you remain steadfast in those hidden hours, you become unshakable, a person whose spirit cannot be broken when the winds of chaos rise. There is a reason so few ever reach the heights they dream of, a reason so many give up just short of the breakthrough. They mistake waiting for wasting. They confuse silence with absence. They assume that because results are not immediate, their faith is meaningless. But the faithful understand that delay is not denial. They know that every unseen season is preparing them for a moment that will demand everything they have learned to endure. If you quit in silence, you forfeit the reward that was already on its way. If you endure, you step into strength that those who gave up will never know. What sets the faithful apart is not talent, resources, or recognition. It is persistence. It is the refusal to bend their convictions to fit their circumstances. It is the inner fire that chooses principle over popularity, truth over convenience, eternity over temporary relief. This kind of persistence cannot be faked. It cannot be borrowed. It is forged in the furnace of trial, in the endless grind of choosing what is right even when it costs more than you want to pay. Those who walk that road discover that they are not alone. Strength rises in them. Clarity deepens within them. Purpose sharpens until it cannot be ignored. There is a hunger inside you that cannot be satisfied by shortcuts. Every time you compromise for ease, that hunger grows, leaving you emptier than before. But every time you deny comfort for the sake of truth, that hunger is fed with something eternal, something real. This is why faithfulness feels heavy. It is breaking chains. It is tearing down illusions. It is shaping you into someone who can carry the weight of glory without collapsing. You were never meant for a shallow existence, never designed to drift aimlessly, never called to live on the surface. The very longing in your spirit is proof that you were created for more than what you can see now. If you feel resistance, it means you are close to breakthrough. If the pressure feels unbearable, it means the process is working. The faithful do not escape pressure. They rise through it. They do not avoid pain. They transform it into strength. Every obstacle becomes fuel. Every setback becomes training. Every delay becomes a hidden investment in a future that cannot be stolen. The faithful understand that the struggle is not proof of weakness, but evidence of preparation. They know that elevation always requires endurance, and they have decided in advance that no price is too high to pay. You are standing on the edge of a decision that will define you. Either you retreat into comfort and forfeit what was meant to be yours, or you choose to press forward with relentless faith and claim the life that was waiting for you all along. Nothing about this path is accidental. Nothing about your struggle is wasted. Everything has been leading to this moment, this choice, this test of faithfulness. And when the day comes, it will be the faithful who rise, not because life was easier for them, but because they refused to bow, refused to quit, refused to let go of the destiny written for them before time began. The truth is that faithfulness is never a passive condition. It is a burning force that demands the full weight of your will. To be faithful is to stand firm when your emotions scream to run, when your doubts roar louder than your hope, when every visible sign tells you to quit. It is the raw courage to anchor yourself to what is unseen, to refuse to let shifting circumstances dictate the destiny of your soul. That kind of commitment is rare, but it is the very mark of those chosen to rise when others fall asleep in complacency. Every compromise whispers like a thief in the dark, convincing you that one small surrender will do no harm. But each surrender corrodes the core of your strength, stripping you piece by piece until you no longer resemble the person you are called to be. Faithfulness does not negotiate with excuses. It does not entertain the language of almost or someday. It demands that you decide once and for all that nothing will pull you from the course set before you. That decision is not made once. It is made daily, hourly, sometimes moment by moment. And the more consistently you choose it, the more unshakable you become. There is a discipline that comes with faithfulness, and it is not glamorous. It does not win applause. It is often unnoticed by anyone but you. It is waking up and fighting for your spirit when no one thanks you. It is choosing integrity when shortcuts are applauded. It is guarding your heart when compromise looks easier. That unseen fight is the birthplace of greatness, because the person who is faithful in the shadows will never be shaken in the light. The unseen hours are where crowns are earned, where destinies are secured, where the line between ordinary and chosen is drawn. The weight of distraction will always try to pull you off course. The noise of this world will tempt you to trade eternity for comfort, purpose for pleasure, calling for convenience, but every time you resist, your spirit grows stronger. Every time you say no to what is temporary, you say yes to what is eternal. Faithfulness is not about perfection. It is about direction. It is about where your heart is fixed when storms rise, when temptations press, when everything within you wants to give up. The faithful are not perfect people. They are determined people. They may stumble, but they rise. They may falter, but they refuse to remain down. There is a moment coming when faithfulness will be the only thing that matters, not titles, not possessions, not applause, only the posture of your heart, only the endurance of your soul. And those who have been faithful will stand tall when others collapse, not because they were spared from hardship, but because they learned to endure it with unwavering resolve. They discovered that pain can refine, that trials can purify, that resistance can transform weakness into strength. This is why the faithful are elevated. This is why they are set apart. Their lives are not built on the fragile foundation of comfort or recognition, but on the unshakable ground of truth and endurance. When the moment of separation comes, it will not be those who appeared strong, but those who proved faithful who rise above the weight of this world. And you must decide here and now which side you will stand, on the side of those who drift into obscurity or the side of those who remain faithful and are lifted into glory. Faithfulness without sacrifice is nothing more than a word. To remain true when everything is easy costs little, but to remain true when the world strips you of comfort, when your path demands suffering, when silence answers your prayers, that is where faith becomes fire. Every soul that rises above will have walked through the valley of breaking, carrying wounds that could have hardened them, yet choosing to let those wounds forge them instead. The chosen are not chosen because they avoided pain, but because they allowed pain to shape them into vessels of endurance, strength, and unshakable trust. The heart that refuses to bend under pressure discovers a secret most never know, that within struggle lies the hidden doorway to transformation. When you feel crushed by weight yet continue to move forward, you awaken power within yourself that no obstacle can contain. Each sacrifice made in faith is never wasted. Every tear shed in silence becomes a seed of elevation. Every loss endured with faithfulness becomes fuel for glory. What others see as brokenness, heaven sees as readiness. What others see as weakness, eternity marks as strength. The danger is that too many confuse comfort with blessing. They chase what feels good and call it fulfillment, yet wonder why their spirit remains empty. The faithful understand that true blessing often looks like fire, pruning, and discipline. They embrace the refining process because they know elevation is not given to those who cling to comfort, but to those who surrender everything for a higher purpose. The cost is great, but the reward is beyond measure. You cannot rise if you refuse to let go of the weights holding you down. You cannot step into the extraordinary if you are still chained to what is ordinary. Every act of surrender is a declaration of where your allegiance lies. When you give up pride, you declare that your identity is not built on ego but on truth. When you release bitterness, you declare that your spirit cannot be poisoned by the past. When you let go of fear, you declare that nothing can master you except the calling you were created for. This is what separates the faithful from the unfaithful, not that life treated them differently, but that their response was forged in courage instead of compromise.